I'm Andy Moore. Alongside me is Gabe Starosta. We are here live at historic Hinkle Fieldhouse where the Butler Bulldogs play their games. And Gabe, I can almost see Jimmy Chitwood shooting jumpers behind me right now.
You can. This is the place where Hoosiers was filmed, of course, and it looks exactly like you would expect from a movie set about Indiana high school basketball set 20, 30 years ago.
It's great. It seems like a place stuck in time. It's really cool. The top of the entire arena, I think, probably would come up to the end of the first deck of the Lucas Oil Stadium where Duke and Butler are set to play tonight. Let's talk about the game a little bit. Let's talk about Butler in general. Butler's had a pretty magical run through the tournament, Gabe, and you want to kind of go through the games they've played and how they've gotten where they are right now?
Butler, a fifth seed, of course. Start off with number 12 UTEP in San Jose, I believe, and cruise through that game, which many expected UTEP to pull off. Second round, much tighter against Murray State, another upset team, a number 13 seed. But since then, Butler has just been on a roll, defeating number 1 Syracuse, a team many, including myself, thought had a real shot at the national title. And then upsetting Kansas State in Salt Lake City. Kansas State, another hot number 2 seed, similar to West Virginia, that Duke played in the Final Four. So Butler has gotten to the Final Four by turning the ball over, or by not turning the ball over and forcing turnovers, and by playing tough defense. And that was on display Saturday night against Michigan State, when, as we saw from press row, Butler didn't shoot well, didn't play pretty offense, but was able to cause enough turnovers and score just enough points, 52 of them, to reach a national title game.
Right, you know, they talk about how Duke plays ugly. I think Butler definitely exemplifies ugly basketball. Saturday night, they didn't score for, what was it, 7, 8 minutes?
It was a little bit more than that. It was 11 and a
without
half
a field goal. Without a field goal. There was a couple of minutes in there. 11 and a half minutes, they didn't score, they still won the game. Really, it's a testament to how good their defense is. A testament that they're a very good basketball team. Like they're being called over and over again like the Cinderella team. They've won 25 straight though, and they've beaten those giants. They've beaten Kansas State. They've beaten Syracuse. Duke is not looking at this lightly, and they should. So let's talk a little bit about the game tonight. Duke will tip off at 9 o'clock, and so what are your initial thoughts on the game?
Well, what Duke needs to look out for is turnovers for one. Butler plays a very aggressive man-to-man defense, and they have long, tall, physical wing players and players down low. They're not looking necessarily to get out in transition and score off those turnovers as quickly as a team like Michigan State can, but turnovers would be the death of Duke tonight. It would create longer possessions for Butler. Butler could determine the tempo of the game and could keep the score low, which is something that favors the Bulldogs tonight.
And they're also going to have to stop Gordon Hayward. I would say he's probably the most NBA-ready player that's going to be out there on the court tonight. He's got a great game. He can shoot. He can go down low. He can just barrel through guys. I mean, he's just very athletic. He's a very good player. And look for Singler probably to guard him. Singler is coming off 2 very good defensive games. Last one against he held Deshaun Butler before Butler's injury, and he held it. And he played just excellent defense on him. So look for Singler to try to stop down Hayward if Duke really wants to have a really good chance of winning tonight.
Sure, Hayward is the guy in the Butler jersey who looks a little bit like Singler. And plays a similar game to some degree. Hayward can step out and shoot the 3 as he showed at the beginning of the game against Michigan State when he made 2 in a row just to open it. And he can also drive to the basket, and he's a tough rebounder the way Kyle Singler can be in the paint. So that matchup will be key tonight. What else, Andy, do you think Duke should look for out of Butler's offense in particular?
Butler's offense, well, I'm not really sure. Butler really is not known for their offense that well. Hayward is really just the focal point of that offense. Look for probably a lot of threes early. That's because Hayward probably is really the only inside guy that they can really go to. So if they get the hot hand going early, then watch out for him. That's it.
Sure, another Butler player who can really score when he's feeling it is Shelvin Mack, who's a swing man. Also hit a couple of outside shots against Michigan State, but missed much of that game with cramps and dehydration. But he should be ready to go tonight.
Right.
One player who may not play tonight for Butler is Matt Howard, their big center, who played only 15 minutes and suffered a concussion against Michigan State, a slight concussion. He is a game-time decision so far.
They're saying very mum about it right now. So, Gabe, any predictions for tonight's game?
Well, my initial reaction to Duke playing Butler is that they're 2 similar teams in some ways, in that they both play very tough defense, they're excellent rebounding teams, and they take care of the ball. But I believe that Singler, Shire, and Nolan Smith will just be too much for Butler to handle, especially along the perimeter. And if Matt Howard can't play, Brian Zubek should have a field day inside against a shorter, but equally physical, but shorter Butler front line. So I think I'm thinking a Duke win by 10 to 12 win margin.
Yeah, I would say probably 10 to 12 too. It's not a very original pick, but I think it's the correct pick. One thing I will think is interesting though, rather than I think like it's pretty. Duke definitely has the advantage right now. I would say look for the final score to be, I think, a little higher than we anticipated. Duke put on an offensive show against West Virginia. Very good defensive team. So I said in a podcast a few weeks ago that this would be the lowest scoring, or if it was Duke Butler, it would be the lowest scoring game in like NCAA championship history. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be a little more offense than we anticipated. So I think Duke 10 to 12 point victory definitely.
Who's your most outstanding player in the tournament if Duke wins, and what about if Duke loses?
If Duke wins, I think it's Nolan Smith. He had kind of a bad game yesterday, or not a bad game Saturday, but he was out for some time with foul trouble. But I mean, he's had an amazing tournament, and I think he's going to have a field day with these Butler guards. He's quick, he can create his own shot, and he played very well in the first few rounds. So I think that really makes his case for Nolan Smith to be the best player.
I'll take Kyle Singler if Duke's champion. Of course, everyone remembers that game he had against Butler, where Singler went 0 for 10 from the field and scored only 5 points. I think the rest of his body of work has really been
Baylor. Against Baylor.
Of course, against Baylor. I think the rest of his body of work is really outstanding. He's had excellent games against West Virginia on defense and on offense. He was great early in the tournament for Duke, dominant player against Cal, and in the Sweet 16 against Purdue. So I think Kyle Singler is the driving force behind this Duke team.
And we both got Hayward if Duke Butler wins.
I think that's right, and I think if Butler wins, it's an incredible story, particularly for Coach Brad Stevens in his third year, a guy in his 30-somethings. It's hard to compare him to Coach K really in any way. The guy is at the beginning of his career, and he's got the chance to do something really special for his school.
It would be a hell of a story. All right, well, thank you for joining us in the Chronicle Sports Blog from historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. Thank you.
See ya. Have a good night.